We are coming on a quick close to Silverwolf's banner, and before this, most of the community was under a strong consensus that Luocha was 100% a better pick for free-to-play players, including myself. Now, with so much more theory crafts being proven true, new Silverwolf builds every week, and her incredible flexibility for team building, we've seen dedicated players 3-starring MOC as fast as one turn clears, way before the enemy can even damage them. All of this brings me to my question. Is Luocha still an absolute must pull for free-to-play players looking to conquer MOC? Henshin a go-go, baby. What's good, guys? Yoku here, and we've currently reached the point in the game where a lot of players are no longer in the survive meta. The question now is, when can you kill the enemy? We're already seeing a shift in the MOC meta where teams don't even need to heal. Most bring them, but the healer ends up being an SP generator while the DPS obliterates the rest of the field. In practice, one team focuses on dealing as much damage as fast as possible, while the second team is allowed to fall under a more standard team comp. This would be your healer, tank, a DPS, whatever other support you want. Without getting into the E6 Silverwolf department, an incredibly large number of players have found themselves gaining a big boy success because of Silverwolf alone. She's grown to be the second most used 5-star character in Memory of Chaos, including a few other notable names like Welt, who is on the rise because imaginary is kind of everywhere, but that's neither here or there right now. And as concise of an explanation that I could give, what I'm trying to explain is that Silverwolf did exactly what I predicted her to do a few videos back. Due to her unique mechanic of forcing an elemental weakness on any enemy, as well as the build flexibility she has to help with multiple teams, players are basically using this as a means to overpower or hack, quote unquote, Memory of Chaos, so the need for a healer doesn't arise. Completely off topic. I just want to let you guys know that if future me doesn't or can't take out the loud barking that Aqua just did, I'm not removing it. You're just gonna have to deal with that. Moving forward, let me continue talking about Silverwolf. So continuing from the previous thing that I was mentioning, we get to ask ourselves more questions. I know this video is all questions, but listen, hear me out. If these players don't need healers right now, they're definitely not going to need healers later on, at least based off the current idea or concept of Memory of Chaos. Obviously, miHoYo or Hoyoverse will be able to change things because that's what they do, and they'll warp it so that maybe you do need a healer or a preservation character in the future. But as of right now, I don't see that happening in a way that's going to stop Silverwolf from doing what she wants to do. Especially with the new break build. Well, it's not really new, but now we're getting to a point where more players are seeing and utilizing break into their Silverwolf, and they're getting so much more success compared to trying to force a crit rate build. And I told you guys that was a bad idea, but like some of y'all just don't like listening to me. All of this looks like it makes Luocha so much less necessary for free-to-play players. I know English. We can also look at the fact that we know another healer is or will be arriving in the future. Whether or not that's going to be 1.4, 5, or 2.21 doesn't matter. There is going to be another healer coming in the future. So would picking up Luocha specifically to help you conquer MOC, as we initially stated, still be viable? For those of you that made it this far in the video, do me two things. One, feel free to subscribe or like the video. That would really help out. But most importantly is number two. Try to answer these questions for yourself in the comments down below. First question, are you pulling for Blade? For Blade, many players believe Luocha to be the perfect partner for him. And while that could be true, we don't specifically know that just yet. So now you get into a whole different ballpark. Those same players have also skipped Zila and Jingyuin because they're saving for Blade. So if you were to pull Luocha and Blade, what other DPS character that is strong enough to help you carry onto a second team do you have already built? Sure, there might be Dan Heng, there might be Su Shang, some of you might have Arlen, I suppose. Some of you might get lucky and you have Clara or Himiko, even Yang Qing. Any of these characters are great. It really just comes down to what you're going to answer within the comments below. Picking up Luocha might be great for you, but you still fall under the problem of not doing enough damage to actually clear MOC. I've seen characters like Su Shang and Dan Heng function as a main DPS unit, but oftentimes these are the E1 to E6 versions of themselves acting as the main DPS. Very rare that I see somebody with an E0 4-star character being the main DPS in Memory of Chaos floors higher than 5. The second question here is, what about pulling for Kafka. Now this one is a lot more positive compared to Blade. And I don't want to say like Blade was negative or anything like that, but what I mean by that is imprisonment as a whole helps out Kafka a lot more than it does Blade. It's going to allow her to bully the team or bully the enemy nonstop without giving them any turns, and she's constantly going to be proccing those DOTs for big boy damage. As of right now, I have a strong opinion that Kafka is once again, just like Silverwolf, going to completely shift or change the meta. In this case, specifically for DPS characters though, like she'll create a new DPS meta. We already know about that, but I think Kafka herself is going to carry it so far that it shifts the meta. Lastly, very similar to Blade, you could pull Kafka and Luocha, and now you have a strong team. Where is the second team? If you don't have the second team strong enough, your second main DPS that's strong enough to last on these other floors, you aren't really going to be pushing through MOC any better than if you didn't have Luocha. There's also the rumor that this alleged 4-star healer will be dropping in the coming patch or the next patch with or after Kafka, right? The coming patch with Kafka or the patch after that with Kafka. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I'm just going based off of what you guys keep telling me in the comments pertaining to a 4-star healer. I don't even know this character's name. While all of that may sound dull and grim, it's not the end of the world for Luocha. Let's look at what makes him an irreplaceable character on any account as of right now. First, we can take into consideration his passive healing. Luocha works a little bit differently than Bailu's and especially Natasha's. In fact, we're not even going to mention Natasha further from this point. Her healing doesn't even come close to his outside of her ultimate, if I'm not mistaken, with it being able to immediately recover everyone's HP. Bailu, on the other hand, her only form of passive healing is going to be invigoration, and while it does have a stock of 3, the amount it heals is fairly low in comparison to how much damage these level 70 plus enemies are doing. Not only that, but Bailu's skill reduces each heal after the first one by at least 15%, not 50. Whoa. I'm sure all of us have been in situations where if Bailu just healed the same ally a couple more times or even one more time, they'd survive. Even if they had a little bit more HP on the heal, she would have kept them alive. I do think that there's a positive in that, and maybe, I guess if you want to like, it's a positive to the negative, because Bailu's talent allows her to revive a downed ally for free. Granted, it's only one time unless you have Eidolon, then it makes it twice, but whatever. All of that is fine for Bailu as long as she isn't CC to death. Stupid tree branch deer man, cough cough. Based off what I understand about Luocha, not only should his skill restore an ally's HP more than both of those current healers that I just mentioned, but it also has 2 after effects for free. I guess it's not really free because you're still using a skill point, but you use a skill point and then you get 3 things that happen from that. That's the better way to say that. So a buy 1 get 2 deal. You know what I mean? The first effect that happens is basically a pocket skill that automatically gets used once an ally's HP drops below 50%. The second effect to happen will be adding 1 Abyss Flower to his stocks, which just fuel more into the passive healing. Cycle of Life is the name of his talent as of right now, and once he reaches 2 stacks of Abyss Flower, Luocha will immediately deploy a field that creates a vampiric effect for allies. This effect lasts for 2 turns, and so for the next 2 turns, everything your team does has a lifesteal effect attached to it. Now your DPS gets to spam a bunch of skills for free while also healing from every attack they do. And they automatically get healed if they drop beneath 50% HP for some reason. Luocha also happens to be the only character who has both forms of cleansing in the game. His ultimate, it strips a buff away from every enemy on the field, and potentially being able to work on some type of ERR, which is the energy regeneration rate. It might give him the ability to pop ultimates every 2 to 3 turns. And everybody loves March 7th and Natasha, right? We glorify them for their ability to remove debuffs from a teammate. I just got through talking about why Bailu can't do that with the stupid deer boss, because the tree branches keep CCing her and they force aggro and then she can't do anything. Then everyone dies and then she dies and it's game over. If Bailu had to cleanse, I wouldn't have to deal with that. Granted, she can't cleanse herself, but that's not the point. All of that to say, Luocha gets that naturally on his skill. You do the trace, right? The first trace that he unlocks, boom. Now he's cleansing everybody. It's just like Natasha and March. It's like taking all 3 of them and then putting them into one character. That's basically what Luocha is. It's every single healer that's currently in the game, plus his own kit, and then you slap it all in there. Not only does he have a unique attack-based healing, so all you do is focus on pumping into his attack stat, little bit of outgoing healing percent, and you're good to go. But he also has the rare imaginary typing, which gives him access to imprisonment, which goes into another form of CC. And I mean, like, honestly, Luocha has some of the strongest form of a hybrid kit that I've ever seen. Like this is ridiculous for a healer. I don't know what Hoyoverse was thinking when they made a healer like this, typed out his kit, and then said, yeah, that's good to go. Go ahead and slide it through. I genuinely believe Luocha will be the best healer in the game for a long time. Do I think he is still a must pull for free-to-play players looking to clear MOC? Not necessarily. I know that might seem like a Debbie Downer for a lot of you, but trust me, it's not. While he is strong and doesn't have to worry about some other healer replacing him for a good while, there is still the current case of what's going on with MOC to factor in. Teams without a healer are clearing the game, and we've already been clearing the game with the current sustained characters in the game. I said the game a lot. Every player has a chance to lose their 50-50 to both Japard and Bailu, while still facing the fact that none of those characters will replace a DPS. Now, with Silverwolf still being here at the time of releasing this video, I believe she brings a lot more flexibility to pull her over Luocha. And it's not that I don't believe Luocha is good. Don't get me wrong. I think he's an amazing character. It's more like I believe Silverwolf is so damn strong, so viable, that she practically lets any player do whatever they want for free with as little sustain as possible. And again, now that we've gone into the whole break build thing, I'm making a video on that as well, with Silverwolf having now at this moment in time 3 or 4 different build options that you could actually do. It's crazy what you can do with that character, putting her on any team and then making it work. You just brute force. It's not even brute force. I think it's actually smart what we're doing with Silverwolf and how she's able to adapt a team to be able to beat anything in MOC. So the usual thing that we always say, if you don't have blank, go for Luocha, but I don't think that's true anymore. I don't think it's true that if you don't have Bailu or Japard, then you're automatically 100% you should just go for Luocha. Because of what Silverwolf has done to the game, because of what we've seen her, the capability of what she's able to do, I don't think that's true. I do think that there are some opportunity for a player who maybe you have Jingyuin, or maybe you have Zila or whatever, and you're kind of pushing it, but you really need a second strong DPS. You could grab Silverwolf now, skip Luocha, grab Blade or Kafka. I feel like you would be much better off pushing through MOC than someone who mostly has support characters on their account. They pick up Luocha anyway because of the concept. They need a second sustain, they need a second healer, or they don't have Japard, whatever the case may be. So they go for Luocha, and now they don't have enough damage to actually push through MOC. But this isn't my decision to make for any of you. Whether or not you want to push through MOC or enjoy the game is totally up to you. I'm just giving you my opinions from an RPG perspective. So let me know in the comments down below, how do you feel about free-to-plays needing Luocha at this point forward? Guys, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and comment down below. If you want to be around for more interesting takes on Honkai Star Rail, or just hear me talk, consider subscribing or becoming a member to the channel. We have a $1 tier now because I readjusted everything, and they do bring some benefit to you. Okay, relax. Not trying to milk you for your money. Not all of it, at least. It does help support me in order to continue making more videos about Star Rail, and it encourages my lazy ass to stream more often. Now, let me get back to playing Final Fantasy 16 in the Discord. I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Smell you later.